Okay, tell us a little bit about yourself and what office you're seeking.
My name is Cortney Niland, and I am the candidate for City Council Representative District 8, and have a degree in economics with a minor in business and a minor in Spanish. I've served on numerous nonprofit boards here in El Paso. I've served them with my leadership skills, my interpersonal skills, and my devotion. I have a financial background, so I know a lot about numbers and budgets and issues, and I'm fiscally conservative. And I'm excited at the opportunity of possibly serving our El Paso community.
What do you think is the most pressing issue facing the district in which you're pursuing office?
Right now, I think the most pressing issue is for El Paso as a whole is jobs. I think that the missing demographic here in El Paso is the young demographic of we have this great resource of UTEP, and we're putting out these great, smart individuals, and yet they graduate and don't have a job. And if we can't help provide them the jobs, we will continue to lose that demographic, and they'll move elsewhere. And I want to ensure the fact that we can keep that talent here locally. And I think the best way to do that is by investing in local businesses that are already here. They're already paying into the tax base. They already have a vested interest. They want to grow their businesses, but we have to work with the public sector and the private sector to help alleviate the strains on the businesses, to help them grow and offer the jobs to those talented individuals.
So do you support tax abatements to attract big business here in the town?
First and foremost, I would like to see those tax abatements and tax incentives to local businesses personally, because I believe that they're the ones, like I said, that are already here. They're already paying into the tax base. They already have a vested interest. They're here because they care about our El Paso community. So we all share that in common. So first and foremost, I want to take care of the people that is helping our economy grow right now. Then I would obviously look at attracting. First and foremost, I believe in tax abatements and tax incentives to local businesses. Local businesses, and I'm talking from small business to big business. I'm talking about the local dry cleaner. I'm talking about everyone that has any type of business here in El Paso. I want to make it easier for them to do business with here. We must forge a relationship between the public sector and the private sector and help them, whether it's the matter of just getting a permit or whether it's the matter of actually recruiting someone to come here. It's imperative that we have a better communication and a better relationship with the business community here in El Paso. For after that, of course, I would want to work on enticing and offering incentives for other businesses to come here in El Paso. That just helps us grow. It helps us be competitive. But first and foremost, I believe in protecting the individuals that are already citizens of El Paso, that are paying into the current tax base and have a vested interest in wanting to see El Paso be better.
You had mentioned some various things at the beginning of this interview about what you think are important. What actions would you take if you were elected? What would be one of the first actions you make as a city representative?
Well, the first action I'm going to take probably is in regards to when you look at what most businesses are struggling here in El Paso, or when most businesses didn't come here last year, it had more to do with our high property tax rates and our electricity rates. So I would first and foremost launch a full investigation into making sure we're doing what's right in regards to those operating procedures. Second of all, I would like to meet with our current economic development group and see what the current economic policy is, and see maybe what other municipalities are doing to help their local businesses grow, and if we are or if we're not implementing those same resources to help our businesses once again grow.
You're seeking to represent probably one of the most diverse, economically speaking, districts of the city.
Yes.
So how do you balance the needs of the more affluent areas of the district, which clearly vote on a much more regular and substantive basis, and the needs of, say, Segundo Barrio?
Well, this is interesting. When I first moved here to El Paso, I was a stockbroker for Morgan Stanley, and I had to build my own book of business by cold calling. And one of the first cold calls I made was to Salvador Bacorta in the Segundo Barrio area, and talking to him about seeing if maybe I could come help his employees with their retirement plan. I think the Segundo Barrio is a very unique neighborhood. It's a treasured neighborhood. It's one of the first neighborhoods in El Paso, and I think it's imperative that it gets the community dollars that it deserves. And I'm looking at my representation as, of course, first and foremost, I'm going to represent all of District 8 constituents, but I'm also, at the heart of my mind, will be representing every El Pasoan, because in general, what's good for District 8 is good for all of us.
One more question before I let you wrap up here, and the question is a little bit of clarification as it relates to the enforcement of national immigration laws by our local PD. Do you support that? If so, why or why not?
Well, I'm concerned right now when we're in a economic crisis, as we are right now. I think it's imperative that we do what we possibly can to protect our funding. First and foremost, in my mind, is education. I don't like hearing that we're going to have to cut expenses and cut programs, because I believe education is the key to everyone's future. So first and foremost, that's what's on my mind. And I believe this is a federal issue. I believe this is a federal issue that our government needs to stand up and realize what's going on. But I also don't believe one size fits all. We're a border town. We're a border community. And whether we like it or not, Juarez is our sister city. And we need to protect that relationship and work with them together, because we're a team. And so it's imperative for me to speak to our local representatives and tell them that what necessarily might work for the rest of the state of Texas won't necessarily work very well here.
So if the issue were before City Council and it was a tie vote, and you were the deciding vote on the issue of whether or not to compel the PD to enforce immigration law, how would you vote?
Well, are you saying that was a state law that was passed down and mandated to us, a funded mandate? It was a state law. It was passed.
Depending on the individual
because it is
circumstance.
a state issue.
Okay.
Okay.
So if there was funding with it, let me just understand your answer. So
Okay.
if it came with funding, you would support it. If it didn't come with funding, you wouldn't? I don't want to put words in your mouth. I want to make sure I understand.
No, I don't feel that way. I actually feel like this is a very sensitive issue, one that needs to be studied here in El Paso, because we live in a very diverse community and in a bicultural city, and what works here is not going to work in Houston. And so I would like to speak with my current legislation and say, listen, this isn't going to necessarily work very well here. I am the second safest city in the nation for a reason, and my police officers are doing what's required of them. I don't need to put extra work on my current police officers, especially when we have a lack of funding. And I don't want to see funding go for an issue like that when we're cutting education.
Final message to voters.
Final message to voters is I really appreciate the opportunity to possibly serve my community. I want you to know that I'm doing this because I think I can be a catalyst to help El Paso move forward. And if you vote for me on May 14th, I not only will make you proud of the decision you made, but I'll work better to improve the lives of your family and mine.